isolation, but if he finds it too daunting, he can always get a job as a director of tourism for the area, based on his first few slides. I'd like to move on and, if you like, come back to the things that are actually happening at the present time. I'd like to introduce Dr. Cho, who's the head of the Smart City division for the Korean Agency for Infrastructure and Technology Advancement, and prior to that was with Microsoft in Korea. And Dr. Cho's subject is the city project implementation here in Korea.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan Cho. I'm managing the national strategic program of Smart City here. And last March, IPMAkoria members and we visited Berlin, and we talk about the Smart City special interest group. So after that, we can get this kind of international symposium. So I appreciate the visitors and the attention of all the members for this symposium. My theme is the Smart City implementation. So I show some lessons from past U-city, and we're thinking about the future Smart City scenarios. And first, some contents are overlapped with the morning session of Mr. Han. So, but I emphasize the history of urbanization of our Korea. And next sector, I make some example of innovative smart city services and scenarios, and finally, I would like to relate the project management approach with the smart city topics. Okay. You know, the Seoul preserved the old tradition of Joseon Dynasty capital now, and thinking about the urbanization process in the starting time of Joseon Dynasty. You know, scholar Jung Do-jeon is designed the old city Hanya as a human-centered city and harmonized with nature. So nowadays we're thinking about the sustainable city. We make some example from the these kinds of old city of Hanyang. So you can see the palaces right side picture. This is most popular site from foreigners. You can see some Korean costumes in front of the palace. And another example of in 18th century, King Jeongjo developed a new city. It's a multifunctional city for the purpose of defense and transportation and administration. And it is recognized as a World Heritage by UNESCO in 1997, and is a treasure of Suwon right now. So maybe Suwon is thinking about the smart city with these kinds of Hasam areas. Okay. And you know, Mr. Han mentioned about the industrial times. As you know, after Korean War, our government planned some 5-year economic development plan. I'm thinking about when I'm hearing the NEOM project is kind of national level development plan. Yes, but those times, that is industrial times, so our government focus on just the factories. But after that, the shipbuildings and automakers and steel industries grow and grow. So, and then top levels in the world. But nowadays, these kinds of industrial cities they have some difficulties in the market share, and we're facing a greatest competitor such as China and India. So we make some other alternative ways for the prosperity and the wealth of our countries. But maybe around the 1990s, the population increased in the metropolitan areas. Our government makes some other maybe suburbs. We develop suburbs. Ilsan, Dongtan, Bundang is a new town. Mr. Han emphasized the maybe urbanization trend those times. But maybe in the early 2000s, these kinds of new town projects is combined with the high-speed broadband and information network projects. So we call it U-city project. So we shortly U-city, but it is because it means anytime, anywhere, any event. So those kinds of cities are common in our country. And smart grid project and other maybe around 2010 IoT and any other pilot projects are common in our country. But our Koreans focus on just technology, so we just really think about the citizens and human values and quality of life. So after that, we changed these kinds of smart city trend. By the assessment of IDC, it's International Data Corporation, they evaluate the smart city project in the Asia Pacific region. In the case of our country, we have excellence in the area of administration and the public safety areas. So, thinking about the shortage of U-city projects and overcome the handicap of these kinds of projects, we're thinking about the innovative ways of smart cities in the future. So, I take some example from the project by project in our country's activities. First of all, I defined the smart city concept. Smart city is, I think, the smart city where it is possible to improve the quality of life and its efficiency of our management by use of ICT. But nowadays we are focused on the urban data. Data shows many things. So in the case of Busan is the second largest city in our country, and it's a port city, and it is belongs to the maybe 5 top trading city in the world. So it is a big city. Nowadays, Busan focus on the ICT industries, and they make some strategies to make some markets and make some business by use of smart city projects. So they initiated the first example of IoT platform is a standardized one end-to-end model, and this model, after this model, this kind of jobs are expanded to the Goyang or over the countries, and in the case of maybe Spain, Santander also. So another case is our government thinking about the unified format of platform. This comes from the top-down approach of smart city projects. So Dongtan is a first city which is cultivated by the LH, and then it's some it's an intelligent city, and there is some integrated operating center. It's similar to the Rio de Janeiro, and they monitor the whole situation in the city. They can protect some crime and they can monitor some it's a fire happening and any other situations. And the other cases is similar but a little different, I think. It is Anyang city. Anyang is existing city. Dongtan is like greenfield areas, but Anyang is brownfield. So they focus on the axis of transportation networks, and they put some CCTV or all the devices or sensings along these kinds of roadways. So they monitoring the bus situation and any other transportation situations, and they collect the data from all of the sites, and they monitor and they determine the decision ways for example, bus route and transportation alternatives also. And other cases, you know, IoT is common and popular nowadays. So Seoul metropolitan areas, there is some IoT sensing, especially in the it's Bukchon. Bukchon is famous for the foreigners, a traditional town, and they put some trash cans and its facilities, and you can every foreigner can find a restaurant or accommodation by use of smartphone. And this is same thing about Olbeni. Is a night air bus. It makes optimized transportation at night. And another piece is assistant to robot and IoT services. Our telecom companies develop some recognition or by sound, or they make some auto metering services supplied by these kinds of communication companies. And for health recognition, we use some wearable devices also. And 5G, our government announced the 5G experimentation and auction last month, and these kinds of equipment will be finished in last of this year maybe. So Korea become the first country to use these kinds of 5G networks. That will be helpful for autonomous vehicles and VR and any other dynamic images for transport. And finally, I introduce some implementation of smart city projects. Project is very important topics for smart city, because until now our government or our company thinking about just focus of service or focus of solutions, but the making of these kinds of solutions, we're thinking about project management approaches, because nowadays the knowledge of project management emphasizes some value from these kinds of projects. So we should find out some values from smart cities. So many consultancies classify the smart city levels. Some kinds from market smart city 1 version or 2.0 or 3.0. Our national agency emphasizes on the level of smart cities, but the common sense of these kinds of classification is focused on the citizen participation and the integration of each sectors. And this slide is same thing of one versions, but I emphasize on this kind of data-driven smart city rule. In the case of U-city, this case is just unidirectional. So in the center, some manager can check the images from CCTV and they can find out something happening in the city. But most of the rest of citizens who do not relate to those kinds of events, they don't know what's going on. These cities, what's happening and what's the solution for that kind of things. So many citizens didn't feel the advantage of smart city facilities and infrastructures. So nowadays the bi-directional approach is very important. So we make some looked way of data-driven smart cities. So we make some scenarios like this, and we make some design thinking approaches. And another, we can use advanced technology, right? Sensor technologies and dynamic image reading and cloud sensing technologies. They are useful for the smart city enhancement. For this, we're thinking about the role of city formations frameworks. I emphasize on the laboratory of city is kind of innovative lab, living lab. But in the city scale, we can make some kind of living lab effectively because these kinds of, for example, transportation or safety problems, it is difficult to make a small-scale living there. But the case of energy or environment or other is welfare is focused on the small areas, small districts. So we make two kinds of demonstration approaches for smart city projects. And nowadays we're thinking about the Airbnb or Uber company. We can focus on the sharing economies. We can use some residents of food or transportation or asset for other necessary people. So sharing economy concept is related to the smart city project. And we're thinking about society and science and technology. We should combine this kind of things by use of project management approaches. Nowadays in Europe, they're thinking about 4 kinds of stakeholders for smart cities. One is government and company and researchers, and finally the citizen or users. So they're thinking about smart city solutions all together. So this is a model of innovation lab in Korea, and we're thinking about the value chain of these kinds of smart city implementation. So finally, the smart data interaction for the among the process of each phases, planning or design or construction or management. Also, we're thinking about primary actions and secondary actions. We're thinking about the data flow for this kind of smart city projects. And finally, Mr. Jesus emphasized on the project and program and its portfolio. So I think in the level of national or city level, we thinking about the smart city topics is a portfolio approaches, I think. So in the case of autonomous vehicles or drones or any other kinds of advanced technology, for example, artificial intelligence, we're thinking about the systemic approach is very important. So in the case of smart city, it is kind of a system of systems, so we adopted the knowledge of system engineering also. So finally, I summarized those kinds of these topics for smart city implementation. First is, smart city is a complex system with overlapping multi-layered systems and should be promoted vertically and horizontally integrated. And in smart city, the city data is a vital resource. So the amount of data is really important, but the key is how to gather and store and use the right data appropriately, affordably and interoperably. And the citizen participation in smart city is very important success factor. And I think the smart city should be implemented in the form of living lab or use cases, and the knowledge of project management is helpful for these kinds of smart city implementation. Thank you for attention.